Well, if Leif Erikson the Viking was going to have an EDC blade, I believe it would probably be the Becker BK5. Hey there everybody, Aaron here. Welcome to another episode of Getting His Tactical. We're looking, like I said, at the Ka-Bar Becker BK5 Magnum camp knife. This is a very large, and just as the name gives it away, Magnum camp knife. Big camp knife is what it's designed to be. I'll give you a couple basic specs, and then we're going to get out there and begin to field test on this blade and see if it's worth a purchase for you. What you got is an 8-inch overall blade length from the handle scales to the tip, and it has a 7-inch actual cutting edge, 3/16 of an inch thick, made out of 1095 Crovan high carbon steel, Rockwell hardness 56 to 58, very high saber grind, trailing point, so you know it kind of sweeps up as it goes, and that's what's awesome is that the edge is constantly going at an upward angle the entire length of the blade, and this is stupid sharp out of the box, guys. Just an amazing blade. Becker handles that we know, nylon sheath, weighs in at 12 ounces even, and just an overall very large slicing camp knife is kind of what it looks like, and absolutely looks like, in my opinion, what Leif Erikson would be carrying on his person, or some other, you know, Viking would be carrying on him at all times, you know, to regardless if it's just around his home, or, you know, to prepare his food, eat his dinner, you know, and go into battle if need be and defend himself. All those things, I believe the BK5 kind of definitely looks like that, and we're going to see if this is just a good camp knife and if it can do those camp tasks really well. So let's begin to look at the Becker BK5 in detail. Alright, two things I just wanted to comment on the blade of the BK5 before we really get into the hard use of the knife is that, one, you get the 7 inches, which is awesome. The 1095, this is going to just be a tough blade. The very high saber grind, which goes up right up to here, and then you have this unsharpened swedge that I'm running my hand along that goes almost the entire length of the entire spine, which I believe is for quote-unquote bone breaking. You know, if you needed to process some game and you want to get the marrow out of the bone. I think that's very unneeded for 99% of us. I really wish that they would have just given us this nice thick spine back here all the way the whole length of the blade. Now the blade is 3/16 of an inch thick the whole way, but you're only going to get that thickness right there on that kind of little cusp where it then cuts back up to this unsharpened swedge the whole length of the blade. I think it's stupid, unneeded. I don't really like it, and you're going to see as we go through here, it doesn't help with batoning and doesn't help with some of our cutting tasks, so that's kind of an annoyance to me. And then the other thing is the tip. You can see that that tip is very, very precise and semi-delicate. So for, again, camp tasks, I think it's going to be fantastic. I wouldn't really label this a survival knife. You know, I'm sure any knife you can, you know, whatever knife you have on you, you can probably survive with. You know, it's kind of my philosophy on some level. But, you know, that's not a tip you want to be prying and digging with. Your BK7 is going to have a much stronger tip, so I don't think this is a very good tactical blade. It will stab really, really well, but you start prying and wiggling side to side, you're going to break that tip right off. So you just want to be careful with that. It is reinforced almost the whole way down to right here, but it's just very thin, again, making it an amazing slicer and stabber, but not very tough when it comes to your prying tasks. So I just kind of wanted to show you that before we get on into all the cutting tasks with this BK5. Yeah. Again, I cannot get over how well the blade geometry is for the processing wood on this BK5. I mean, this is a Magnum camp knife to be sure. You can just see that. I'm not using the finger choil. You can see how well it's just filling out my hand. Really, really nice. The handle scales, you know, are that Gryvery glass reinforced nylon, basically. Got a nice palm swell there. You know, the 3/16 inch thick spine doesn't make the handle too thick or cumbersome. I wear large size gloves, so you can see it's really nice and secure in there. And then I can either use the finger choil, which is awesome, or I can just kind of go back here, you know, and use kind of this flat spot right here. Again, I would like to see some jimping, but I can easily do this and get really good with that blade geometry as well, you know, that trailing point where it sweeps up the entire consistency of the blade. I mean, one slice and I'm processing a lot of wood is going flying off this piece of wood. If, you know, I'm carving or whittling or, you know, making a steak for a lean-to, you know, or something like that, very easy to do that type of cut. And that sweeping motion is just awesome. Awesome with that very, very high saber grind. BK5 is a champ when it comes to processing wood. Holy Lord. Love this blade. Yeah. This thing just slices. This is a great way to use a bigger blade. Just rest it up against your knee. or your shin. Again, that's why knee pads help. You can see there, I will say I'm kind of resting it up here, closer to where the blade starts to widen out again. That unsharpened swedge is kind of painful, you know, if I'm really having to do some heavy duty cutting like that. It's just not as comfortable because it's so thin up there along that spine. So you gotta kind of do it right by the finger choil, and then it's fine, no worries, and it doesn't really hurt you. But again, reason why I don't really care for that unsharpened swedge, and I really wish that they had removed that unsharpened swedge from the top of the blade. Makes it kind of uncomfortable to do this unless you're resting it right there on top of the finger choil where the blade starts to widen out again. Oh yeah. This knife can really carve. I love using it for this type of stuff. Again, just comes back to that blade geometry that they put on the BK5 for us. Very easy to carve and whittle with. I love the finger choil that they give us. Very generous right there on that finger choil. Very large. You know, I'm wearing work gloves. I wear large size hands. I wear large size gloves, and I can really choke up. No thumb ramp to worry about like you would have on a BK7. You know, it's kind of uncomfortable with these type of tasks. I mean, this is very easy to do, and just a blast. Very comfortable, much more comfortable than really any of the other Becker knives except for the BK2. The BK2, you know, is designed a lot like this, with just that nice flat, no thumb ramp, and you can really get aggressive on your carving and whittling with your BK5. All right, here we go with the BK5. I've already done all the field testing, and this is the last video I'm actually filming. I have not touched up the BK5. This is still with the factory edge, and you can see here, boom, right through that nylon rope. So fast and easy. It's just with the blade geometry, just amazing. So fast to cut through this heavy duty nylon rope. So around your campsite, you're gonna easily be able to just slice right through heavy duty rope, you know, for all your different tasks you might be using your rope for. Just gonna be awesome slicer, cutting through the BK5, cutting through rope like it's butter. One last thing as we move on from the cutting tasks and begin to move on to the chopping and batoning with the Becker BK5 is I wanted to touch on just the game processing and hunting capabilities of this knife. I'm not a hunter, but I will tell you that the slicing capability and the blade design and geometry and how good it feels in my hand would make this a great large skinning hunting knife as well. We have previously reviewed, and you can check them out on the Getty's Tactical channel in our K-Bar playlist. We have reviewed the K-Bar Bacon Maker and Potbelly, which are supposed to be designed as large camp/hunting knives, and I would take this over either of those knives in a heartbeat, just because it chops so well for its lightweight that you're about to see how lightweight it is at 12 ounces. It chops so well, and just that trailing point is designed, you know, I can kind of grab that finger choil if I need to, maybe with my middle finger, kind of put my finger up here and slice and just do that type of stuff. I think this would make an amazing large skinning, hunting, game processing blade as well, and better than the Johnson Adventure line blades. I think this would do a better job. So I just want to kind of throw that in there and kind of give you that comparison as well. If you're thinking about a large hunting blade, BK5 could totally do the job, I believe. Shoo, yeah. Woo. Easy work. 12 ounces, crashing in with that great blade design. Look at that. Real nice, smooth, clean cuts with your BK5. Nice. Love that saber grind. Sweet. Nice. You know, with 7 inches, you can span a lot. That cutting edge is 7 inches, so you can span a lot of wood, which is really good. And that high saber grind, almost a full flat grind, goes right through. This is really nice, tough pine that we're going through. The problem with the blade that we've already kind of talked about is the unsharpened swedge. really damages your batoning stick, so you gotta have a really nice strong batoning stick, otherwise it will just break it right off. I don't really know why they did that and why they decided to go with the unsharpened swedge. I would have really liked to just have that, a nice thick spine back there, and then it would have been a lot easier. But you can see, as long as you can span it, man, going right through that piece of wood. Woo! Heck yeah. So definitely, you know, medium grade batoning. Your BK9 will be able to baton a little bit more, but I would say that this would batons just as good as your BK7. It's just going to damage your batoning stick real quick. All right, let's look here at the nylon sheath that comes with the BK5, very similar to the BK7, BK9, all come with almost the exact same sheath, and if you see my other reviews, not very impressed with it. The design is good, the quality is very poor. It's made in China. On the front side here, you got, you know, your sheath that your knife sits in with molded polymer plastic. Nice button, that's good. Slides out, but you can see that the edge going right up against that snap, so eventually you're going to totally destroy that snap and cut it off. And the insert is rather open, I guess is how you could say. So you're definitely going to get some rattle, not as bad as other knives, but so that sits in fine. Nothing really all that bad with that, but this is just going to wear out super quick. Then you got your pocket that you would know, got a little insert there for the BK13, and then the little dump pocket as well that you'd all know. Leg lashings down here, flip it over, you got Molly, more lashings, and then you got your little Velcro and button that you can put it onto your belt without taking your belt off. That is a nice little feature. Then you got two more rivets right there, so you could kind of double lash it with some paracord if you want to have a secondary attachment to keep the knife secure. So again, good design on this sheath, but the quality of just the materials are very low quality nylon, and it tends to fray and wear out real quick. This is going to be your knife, you know, you're like, oh man, I'm going to use this knife for years and years. It's going to be my go-to blade, which the blade itself is definitely designed and strong enough to do that, US made obviously, and very high quality. Then you're going to have to opt with either a nice nylon sheath, or there are Kydex models that you can either get from a couple different websites online or on eBay for around 45 bucks. A Kydex sheath is really the way you want to go in the long haul, because this one's not going to last very long, this nylon sheath. All right, everybody, well, we used the BK5 here for a while now, used it on a couple expeditions and really got a feel for it. And I got to tell you, I'm really impressed. I wasn't expecting a lot when I purchased this knife, but it carves better than a BK7, and it chops way better than a BK7. Just the grind angle is really where it's at and what causes it to do that. And then it batons just as well as your BK7. So I know a lot of you out there, you're maybe looking, okay, should I get a BK7 or BK5? Because they weigh the same, they're almost the same blade length. You know, there's a lot of similarities. I got to say, if you're using it purely as a camp, you know, wilderness knife, BK5 all the way. You're going to carve better, chop better, and baton just as well as your BK7. Your BK7 is going to be a little bit better, you know, kind of jack of all trades. You could definitely use it as a tactical knife. I would not say this is a very good tactical knife. Just doesn't have the traction plan for it. Doesn't have the thumb ramp. But when it comes to the carving and whittling camp tasks, I mean, the BK5 just home run for such a large blade that can do a lot for you and at a reasonable price. The BK5 is absolutely a great blade to purchase and to own. I would highly recommend it, and particularly over a BK7 if you're just going to use it mainly around your campsite and, you know, out in the bush. So thanks everybody for watching. Stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.